Live with Mark and Kelly Ripa frequently criticizes her husband, Mark Consuelos, and she recently voiced her displeasure with one of his most vexing behaviors. At first, she believed it was a bad idea to host with him. Fans of morning talk shows, however, are undoubtedly aware that everyone has flaws, including celebrities. Real-time Mark Consuelos is criticized by Kelly Ripa on her public platform. At one point, the host of Live with Kelly and Mark informed the audience that Mark frequently snores and tried to address the issue by using nasal strips. However, when they went to sleep, it wasn't a really sexual moment. She was covered in sticky moisturizing lotions at the same time, which made the nightly bedtime ritual everything but pleasant. However, these discussions typically generate a lot of laughter from the ABC audience, possibly due to the fact that many older people can identify with them. Another time, Live Mark Consuelos was exposed by Kelly Ripa for ending their relationship. The host of the morning talk program never forgot it, even though it was a long time ago. She then explained to the audience how they battled, but even after they split up, he persisted. Later, he followed her around like a pest in love. They'd eloped 3 days later, though, so it ended happily. The anecdotes she told on the ABC show seemed to have no boundaries. Mark Consuelos, co-host of Live with Kelly and Mark, has a bothersome habit. According to Monsters and Critics, Mark Consuelos was criticized for being obnoxious during a recent episode of the ABC talk show. According to his wife, he frequently tinkered with his gadgets while wearing his AirPods. However, it's not because he isn't paying enough attention to her. In addition, she said that other people follow suit. What is so bothersome about that then? Continue reading to learn more. Fans of ABC observed that Mark appeared oblivious to the fact that he was shouting out his discussion at the top of his lungs while wearing AirPods. What do you think of Kelly Ripa claiming that Mark Consuelos frequently uses his AirPods and is unaware that he is shouting during conversations? Do you know anyone who has done that? Did you feel sorry for them if you did? On most mornings, Live with Kelly and Mark begins with laughter, easy banter, and Kelly Ripa playfully guiding her husband, Mark Consuelos, through the show's opening segment. But this time, the easy rhythm shifted into something sharper and far more entertaining when Kelly decided to call Mark out on live television. The audience gasped, the crew froze, and Mark could only laugh nervously as his wife laid it all on the table. The setup. It started innocently enough. The couple was sharing their usual morning chat, this time about habits at home. Mark mentioned he'd recently reorganized the kitchen. Kelly immediately gave him a look that longtime viewers recognized, the one where she tilts her head, arches an eyebrow, and prepares for a truth bomb. Reorganized? She repeated, her tone sweet but loaded. That's a very creative word for what you did. The audience chuckled, sensing where this was going. Mark smiled, nodding confidently. Yes, reorganized. I like things in order. I like efficiency. You know this. Kelly leaned forward, lowering her voice as if she were about to reveal state secrets. Ladies and gentlemen, what my husband calls efficiency, I call sabotage. The call out. She wasted no time launching into her case. You don't just move things around, Kelly began, wagging a finger at him. You hide things. I go into the kitchen to get the olive oil. It's always next to the stove, and suddenly, poof, gone. I'm tearing through cabinets like a raccoon in a dumpster, and guess what? He's moved it to the pantry behind the cereal boxes, because, in his words, it flows better. The audience roared with laughter. Mark tried to interject, but Kelly wasn't done. And don't even get me started on the coffee mugs. For 20 years, they've lived in the cabinet above the coffee maker. Logical, right? Well, apparently not to Mr. Consuelos. Suddenly, they're in a different cabinet across the kitchen. So now, every morning, I do a scavenger hunt before I've had caffeine. Mark raised his hands in defense. Okay, but hear me out. Kelly cut him off with a smile. No, the people need to hear this. My husband isn't organizing. He's gaslighting me. Slowly, one mug at a time. The crowd erupted. Mark's defense. Mark, trying to recover, leaned into his charm. Look, my system is better. I optimize. It's like I'm setting up a professional kitchen. Kelly shot back. Mark, this isn't a five-star restaurant. It's our house. And newsflash, you don't even cook. The audience howled, clapping wildly. Mark shook his head, laughing. Okay, guilty. But I do eat. Kelly rolled her eyes dramatically. Exactly. So let the person who actually cooks decide where the spatulas go. The playful tension. It wasn't just about kitchen organization. Kelly had decided to go all in, using the opportunity to air out what she called the Consuelos method of chaos. Do you know what else he does? She asked the audience. He takes the remote, changes all the settings, and then leaves me with a TV that only speaks Spanish. Do I speak Spanish fluently? No. But thanks to him, I can now watch the weather in Guadalajara. Mark laughed so hard he nearly doubled over. That's not sabotage. That's cultural enrichment. Kelly clapped her hands. Cultural enrichment? You know what would enrich me? Turning on the TV without needing a tech support team. The audience eats it up. Viewers in the studio were loving every second. Each time Kelly lobbed a complaint, Mark countered with a charming grin or a self-deprecating quip. The back and forth felt less like a marital spat and more like a comedy routine that only two people with decades of history could pull off. One woman in the audience shouted, "Kelly, we believe you," prompting another burst of laughter from the crowd. Kelly pointed toward the audience member. Thank you. Finally, someone understands my pain. Mark dramatically clutched his chest. Et tu, studio audience? Behind the jokes. Despite the playful bickering, there was an undercurrent of warmth. Kelly may have been calling Mark out, but it was with the kind of affection only a long marriage can sustain. Her delivery was sharp, but her eyes sparkled with amusement every time he tried to defend himself. And Mark, he seemed to relish being the target. He leaned back, letting Kelly run the show, laughing at himself, and occasionally sneaking in a wink at the audience. I'll admit it, he finally said. I move stuff around because it makes me feel useful. Kelly basically runs the house, so this is the one thing I can control. Kelly softened, nodding knowingly. See, that's the truth. He wants control, but little does he know, I'm still the boss. The audience erupted into applause, chanting, Kelly, Kelly, Kelly. Social media explosion. By the end of the episode, clips of the exchange were already trending online. Fans took sides, with hashtags like #TeamKelly and #TeamMark floating across Twitter and Instagram. One fan tweeted, Kelly calling out Mark for reorganizing the kitchen is the most relatable content I've ever seen. She speaks for all wives everywhere. Another countered, sorry Kelly, but I'm #TeamMark. Efficiency matters. Let the man optimize the kitchen. Even celebrities chimed in. One fellow talk show host joked, Kelly Ripa just gave the world the definition of marriage, arguing over where the mugs go. Wrapping it up. As the episode drew to a close, Mark tried to reclaim some dignity. He stood up, puffed out his chest, and declared, Ladies and gentlemen, when you come to our house, you'll know it's organized because of me. Kelly leaned into her mic, deadpan. And when you come to our house, bring your own mug. You'll never find ours. The studio roared with laughter as the couple exchanged a playful kiss, sealing the moment with the ease of two people who can turn even a disagreement into television magic. Why it worked. The call-out was more than just good TV. It was a snapshot of Kelly and Mark's real-life chemistry. Their marriage, built on both passion and playful banter, translated seamlessly to the screen. Where other couples might crumble under the pressure of live television, Kelly and Mark thrived, using their quirks and conflicts to entertain millions. For Kelly, calling her husband out wasn't about winning the argument. It was about sharing a slice of their life that felt real, funny, and deeply relatable. For Mark, taking the hits with a smile showed just how comfortable he is in his role as both co-host and husband. And for fans, it was a reminder that marriage is messy, hilarious, and sometimes about nothing more than coffee mugs and TV remotes. The takeaway: the episode closed with Kelly offering one final jab. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about relationships and why moving olive oil is grounds for divorce. Mark groaned, the audience laughed, and the credits rolled on yet another morning of unscripted magic. Because on Live with Kelly and Mark, calling each other out isn't just entertainment. It's love, disguised as banter.